I think ironically, one of the nicest things, or nicest habitats within woodlands are the areas where there are no trees, which is the glades and rides within the woodlands, where you get these kind of sunny areas where you get lots of invertebrates, dragonflies, fritillaries, that kind of stuff. One of the other reserves that I manage is called Gate Barrows National Nature Reserve near Silverdale, and one of the things that we're trying to do there is actually create more of a transition between the different habitats, so especially between woodland blocks and grassland and wetland. And we're doing that by removing hard boundaries where we can, so fencing and putting holes in walls sometimes, and increasing the grazing compartments and extending them to include areas of what would have been traditionally coppiced woodland. So the idea with that is we get a nicer sort of gradient of habitat between woodland and grassland on the edges of those compartments. But actually even within the coppiced woodland, what we've done is coppice but not fenced, no deer fencing. And then we've allowed native breed cattle to graze those compartments through autumn and winter. So what we're hoping that'll happen there is that we're creating more of a wood pasture habitat, and we're using the large grazing animals, so cows in this instance, but also the fact that we've got 3 species of deer there on the site to create more of a dynamic mosaic of big trees, some younger trees, scrub, which is a really underrepresented plant community and habitat. Also areas of grassland, maybe some bracken, and so we've got all of those different kind of habitats in a really intimate mosaic in some of those areas. And then conversely, because we've switched to an autumn and a winter grazing regime within the grasslands, we're starting to see some more scrub developing in those areas. So when you look, you want to see that, you hardly want to be able to see the boundaries between what was traditionally woodland, wetland and grassland. So I think when you're looking at conservation grazing, especially in woodlands, because it's not something you'd normally associate with woodland management, it's really key that you match the grazing species and the breeds to the type of habitat that you've got. So for us, that's really looking at native breed cows, which are used to being in that kind of environment. But also it's really key that you don't push those grazing regimes too hard. The animal's got to be able to move around fairly freely, and also you've got to ensure that you don't have supplementary feeding, so the habitats have got to be able to sustain the number of animals that are using the site. So we're very definite about the fact that we want the animals to be able to come off site when we feel like those different habitats have had enough grazing and we're not pushing them too hard, because that's when you started to potentially degrade the habitats and not get the result that you want really, which is just this amazing sort of dynamic mosaic of habitats.